Good morning. It is July 28th, 9:15 a.m. I'd just like to talk a little bit about something that happened on June 3rd, almost 2 months ago, and has resulted in me having to go to court this coming Monday on the 1st of August to enter a not guilty plea to the charge of cultivating marijuana. Folks, I've spent the last 3 years desperately trying to find some way to manage the constant, severe, chronic pain that I experience every day, from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, and most of the times I can't even sleep through the night because I am in so much pain. It turns out that I am allergic to aspirin. I cannot take any kind of anti-inflammatory because of that. Things like ibuprofen, Aleve, out of the question for me. I can't touch those. Tylenol products, I can't touch those either because of the 16 years that the medical profession had me addicted to opiate painkillers, which doesn't leave much of anything to help me with my chronic pain, aside from medical marijuana. The problem with that is the doctor that I had was unsympathetic to my situation, and in fact had me on 9 different medications, including ibuprofen, which contains aspirin. And I was just getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And every time I went to him and complained about how I was feeling sicker, he would give me a new prescription for a new drug that did not work. People, the only time that I realize any measure of comfort is when I use medical marijuana, when I'm able to consistently and regularly medicate myself as I need to with medical marijuana. I fired my doctor as soon as I found out the truth about the medications that he had me on, and the fact that medical marijuana is absolutely safe in spite of what the government says. Not once has the government ever come forth with a study proving marijuana to be anything other than safe and effective medicine. They claim it to be dangerous without showing you any proof whatsoever, ever. And that's the way it's been since 1958. The whole society that we live in has grown up with this ideal that marijuana was dangerous and just as harmful as heroin. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. And even in spite of what they claim, they allow modern medicine doctors to prescribe painkillers derived from heroin every day, on a daily basis, all the time. And these doctors get paid good money to do that. And in spite of the lack of evidence showing marijuana to be harmful, they have absolutely banned it for use in medicine. Well, I, as a patient who suffers severe chronic pain, can tell you unequivocally that it is in fact a very effective medicine. You see, with chronic pain like I suffer comes with it severe depression. When you go weeks and months at a time unable to move from this chair to do anything without severe pain, it tends to be very much depressing. The use of marijuana, I have found, not only manages my pain, it doesn't take it away like opiate and heroin derivative painkillers do. It simply changes my attitude about the pain so that I can cope with it better. At the same time, and more importantly, it alleviates completely any amount of depression I may be in as a result of the pain that I am experiencing. And this way, I am able to enjoy even some small measure of comfort and pleasure in my life. It is only when I am able to consistently and regularly medicate myself with the use of medical marijuana that I am able to do the many beautiful things that I can do. I have abilities, thanks to my 30 years of construction experience, that are just being wasted because I'm stuck in this chair and can't move without extreme pain. At least when I am able to use medical marijuana, I am able to do things. Maybe not consistently enough to be able to earn a living at it, but at least I can move, I can do things, and I can enjoy the day instead of sitting and suffering all day. I'm living proof that marijuana is safe. It's been a part of my life, actually, since I was maybe 5 years old. Not consistently from that time, but that's the first time that I used it. On the 3rd of June, I had just picked up a fresh batch of medicine, medical marijuana. Was actually given to me as a gift, a small amount. And my neighbor, who lives downstairs, or used to live downstairs in this building, found out early on, months earlier, when I'd first moved in here. He helped me move into this apartment, and because I had lights and everything that necessary for growing marijuana, he put 2 and 2 together and figured out that that's what I was doing. And over the course of a couple of months of coming to visit me, saw that in fact that was what I was doing. Well, this guy is what I would consider to be a hardcore drug addict. Him and his girlfriend spend their entire waking day trying to find ways to get high. And that's all they do. That's all they think about. Well, he thought that because he knew that I didn't have a doctor's permit to grow and use marijuana yet. I had been working on it, but I didn't have it yet because my doctor was getting in the way. Told me that if I not only refused to refer me to a doctor who would care for me with the use of medical marijuana, told me that if I was to pursue that, he would drop me as a patient. And I ended up having to fire him because he could not show me a single one of the 9 medications he had me on that he would be willing to say was safer for me to use or more effective on my symptoms, but yet refused to even give me the recommendation to a doctor who would consider me for the use of medical marijuana. So I fired him. I went several months without a doctor because of that. Every time something went wrong with me, I had to go to the emergency room for care. Well, my insurance company got curious as to what was going on there. Why is it all of a sudden he's going to the emergency room all the time? And they saw that I had ended the services of my medical practitioner. And when I spoke with them, I told them that I had been desperately trying to find a doctor since then who would at least be sympathetic to the use of medical marijuana and allow me to see a doctor to consider me for that. Well, they put me into case management. My insurance company did. And I was assigned a case manager to help me with my situation. And she did eventually find a doctor locally who was at least sympathetic to the idea, and got me an appointment and fixed me up with a regular practitioner now. I do have a doctor again and do not have to go to the emergency room anymore. In fact, this doctor did refer me. He personally could not write the prescription or give me the certificate that I need to be able to grow and use medical marijuana as I need to, but he did, however, give me his diagnosis of chronic pain. Says here, Mark Jerkins has a physical condition which causes him chronic pain. Simple diagnosis, okay? And he gave me a written referral to the doctor, the most known doctor in this state, who is considering patients for the use of medical marijuana. And I have since been able to make an appointment to see this doctor, and I see him on, well, the original appointment was set up for the 8th of August, or no, September 8th, 2011 at 2:30. Yesterday, his office called me and told me that they wanted to move it up. So it's been moved up to August 25th, 2010 at 2:30. Once I see this doctor, there is no doubt in my mind, or anyone else's for that matter, that I will be qualified and certified to use medical marijuana, grow and use my own medicine as I need to. This is not in question. There is no doubt about it. I qualify. But knowing that I didn't have that at the time, my neighbor, who I owed $40 to, came up shortly after my friend that gifted the little bit of medical marijuana that I had that day, came upstairs and on the pretense of collecting the $40 that I owed him. Well, right away I gave him, as soon as he asked for it, I gave him the $40. There was no problem there. I did not ask him to come into my home. I gave him the $40 standing outside my door, turned around, walked to my chair to sit down, and when I turned to sit down, I saw that there he was. He had helped himself into my apartment, sat himself down in my couch, and I guess he just decided to stay there. The marijuana that I had was visible. It was out here and he could see it, and he pretty much couldn't take his eyes off of it the whole time he was here. I have no intention of sharing my medication with an addict. To me, it is medicine. It is required. I need it in order to live some level of comfort in my life. I only had a small amount anyway, and there was no way I was going to share it with him. But he figured, since I didn't have the legal right to have it, that he could extort it out of me. Oh, he sat there a good hour just crying, bitching, moaning and complaining about how sucky his life was, and how he couldn't believe that the state was actually going to require him to go get a job. You know, oh, go figure, you know, man has to work, you know, geez. Well, there ain't nothing wrong with the guy. Why isn't he working? Well, I sat here, you know, I'm not a violent person, and I'm in fact the manager of this building, and I have an open door policy, and I've made that known throughout the building. If you need anything, you have any trouble, or if you just want to talk, come on in, sit down, have a talk, right? Well, he came in, sat down, and talked all right, just crying, pissing, and moaning about how sucky his life was. I'm sitting here trying to prepare cucumber pods for planting. You know, the little moss pots there, the little square moss pots, they come like 8 to a pack. Well, I was filling those with dirt and getting ready to plant them with seed. And I couldn't do it because he kept demanding my attention. And it was always the same thing, you know, cry, piss, and moan, cry, piss, and moan. Well, I listened to him for about an hour and let him go on and on and on, the whole time noticing that he was eyeballing my medicine, knowing that that's what he really wanted, okay? I decided, listen, please leave. I'm trying to relax here. I'm just trying to get my cucumbers planted, and I really don't need all this stress. Please leave. One time. In one ear, out the other. Didn't even hear it. He sat right there, didn't even budge. Kept right on pissing and moaning about how sucky his life is. Well, I went on trying to get my stuff done here with the cucumber pods, and he just kept crying, pissing, and moaning, and I said, listen, change the subject. At least change the subject. If you won't leave, change the subject, because you're causing me a lot of undue stress here. And I think, to tell you the truth, that was his goal, because he knew if I was under a lot of stress, I would medicate, and then he would in turn get to smoke some pot. Well, I wasn't going to let that happen, so I again asked him to leave. Second time, politely, please leave. Let me do my thing here. I want to relax, and I don't need all of this stress. In one ear and out the other, like he didn't even hear it. He kept right on going, just as if I had said nothing. Another neighbor from downstairs, this guy's, he's disabled, you know, he's got mental issues, slow. He's a harmless, absolutely harmless guy. But he came to the door, and I motioned him to come on in, you know, have a seat, because it was regular for him to come and visit me. I like him, you know, he's okay. And he came in and sat down. Now, he was never even afforded the opportunity to say good morning or hello or anything, because the other guy that was here ahead of him dominated the airspace. Again, now this time, the third time, I ordered him to leave. I said, get out now, leave. And this is what he did to that. People, I don't know, I didn't know what to think about that. Here's a guy sitting in my home, disturbing my sanctity, my serenity, and peace in my own home. I can't get him to leave. He won't shut up. He won't leave. He insists on causing just as much stress as he can cause. So I figured, okay, I'm thinking to myself, if he's going to be this way and insist that I listen to him cry, piss, and moan about how sucky his life is, then maybe he won't mind if I tell him why he's crying, pissing, and moaning about how sucky his life is. So I went on to tell him, I said, listen, you're half my age and there ain't a damn thing wrong with you. Why don't you have a job? Why aren't you working? Oh, well, I have my girlfriend who's hurt and a newborn baby to take care of. And I said, listen, the best way you could take care of them is to be a man and get a job and support them. That's the best thing you could do for them. And I said, you sitting around here crying, pissing, and moaning about how sucky your life is, you're not willing to do a damn thing to change it. Oh, well, see, he's a redhead, so as you know, as a norm, he's got fair skin and is sensitive to the sun. Oh, well, I have a sun allergy, and I suggested him, hey, get a job at McDonald's. It's a job, it's some kind of an income, and it would show your girlfriend and your son that you are a man and a good father. Oh boy, he got upset with that and started insulting me, telling me I had a big mouth, and started getting irate and just, I became afraid for my physical well-being at that point, because this guy's even bigger than I am. I'm a big guy, but he's even bigger than me, half my age and in perfectly good shape. I'm 100% disabled for like 5 different reasons. Now, if I had to, I could physically handle him, and I would hurt him. But in that process, being already hurt myself, I would hurt myself even worse. I know that. There's no doubt about it. And besides, I don't wish to hurt anybody. I'm a man of peace. So, this time, when I saw that he was becoming angry and insulting and rude, and knowing that 3 times already I'd asked him to leave, the 3rd time forcibly, and he just sat there with a smile on his face, this time there was a knife sitting next to me that I was going to use to separate my cucumber pods with. After I had them planted and watered, I was going to separate them, put them in trays. Well, I became angry at that point because he was now starting to insult me, being belligerent and posturing himself in a threatening manner in my home. I picked up that knife and told him finally, get the fuck out of my house now! Then he finally got the message. I've got a 9-inch fillet knife in my hand. He better move, right? So he gets up, passes me here to go out the door, calls me a coward, gets to the door, turns around, calls me a coward again. I told him, don't come back. You're not welcome here anymore. He smiled like he had something up his sleeve and walked away. About 45 minutes later, I get a call from the landlord of this building asking me what's going on. Why is Aaron so pissed off at you? What's this about a knife? So I explained to the doc, I'll call him, that, you know, what happened. And I explained it to him, and he listened, and he said, well then, what about this issue? Is there going to be any problems? I said, listen, he's gone. That's all I wanted. He's gone. Give it a day or two. Just things will calm down and it'll be no problem. You know, it's just he was being rude, insulting, and in a very threatening manner in my home. and I wanted him out. He got out, fine, it's over with. I'm not worried about it anymore, no more concern. Problem solved, right? Well, apparently Aaron and his girlfriend Tosh decide that, oh, well, we couldn't get him in trouble with the landlord, so let's call the police. They not only tell the police that I was threatening him with a knife, but they decide to go ahead and divulge the fact that I'm taking care of myself with the use of medical marijuana and growing it in my apartment. This is about 2 hours after the fact. There, the police finally show up here with the Border Patrol and raid my apartment. I have to hand it to the boys. They're very professional. The sheriff and also the Border Patrolman, they came in. They had a job to do. The law is the law. They did their jobs very professionally. And we sat and talked for a while about my condition and what was going on with me and everything. And I explained to them exactly what happened with Aaron earlier. And in fact, I think it was either the Border Patrolman or the police officer, one of them said, you know, if it was me, I would have picked up that crossbow over there. Because I have, right sitting here, something that could end it for Aaron if I needed to. And it's just as quick as that. Pick it up, boom, you're done. Okay? But I'm not into hurting people. This is here for protection only. Protection only. The only time I touch that thing is just now, like I did to show you what it is, and the only other time I'll touch it is if I need to use it to defend my home. Well, the officers were very sympathetic to my situation, and although they don't entirely disagree with the use of medical marijuana, they did understand my situation, and they were very nice and very polite. They didn't place me under arrest, but I did have to go to the station, and I guess I was arrested, but they never put the cuffs on me. They rode me to the police station in the front seat of the car, hands free, just, you know, because they knew what the deal was. They even told me they knew that they were being used as an object of some addict's revenge against me. They weren't very happy about that either, especially since Aaron and Tasha were living illegally together in an apartment downstairs, while one of them has a ghost apartment upstairs collecting state and federal funds. For months and months and months there, this was going on. Well, come Monday, I have to go to court for cultivating marijuana. And believe it or not, reckless conduct, because I'd thrown him out of here with a knife in my hand. But I have a feeling that the district attorney is going to read what the police officers put in the report, and he's going to decide to throw that one right out the window. He's not even going to try to push that one. The cultivating marijuana, yes, I was doing that. But I'm going to plead not guilty to it because it's in my home for personal use only. And until that addict decided to take revenge on me, no one else in this world knew about it and would ever know about it. I am not into the sales and distribution of marijuana or anything else for that matter. I am only desperate to realize some comfort, some level of happiness and comfort in my life. And that's the one and only medicine that helps me with that. At that time, I still hadn't found a doctor. I'd been trying up until that point on my own to find a doctor. It took my insurance company's case manager to find that doctor for me. Well, the really sad thing about this is that through no fault of my own, not having harmed anyone, living in the privacy and sanctity of my own home, doing what I need to do to take care of myself, as was suggested by the emergency room doctor. When I told him my situation, he said, well, maybe you should just do what you need to do. Crossed his arms and kind of started walking away. You know, come on, man. Even the police officer, when we were talking, asked me why I don't just buy my medicine off the street. And I told him, listen, when I do that, I perpetuate an illegal drug market, and I put myself and somebody else at risk for legal problems, and I don't know what it is I'm getting. It's like playing Russian roulette. Very rarely do you get real medical quality marijuana off the street. So to try and just cut out all of that, take care of myself privately and quietly, I decided to go ahead and start doing that. Because for the last 6 months, I'm without a doctor. So that's the way it goes. I just hope that the attorney that I'm appointed, because I can't afford an attorney. As a matter of fact, I've found out that the penalty for cultivating marijuana, you can get up to a year imprisonment and a $2,000 fine on top of that. I got to tell you something. If I go to jail for even a couple of weeks, I stand to lose everything. Everything in this home will be lost because I have no place to put it. Where will it go? And as far as a fine goes, people, I get my money on the 3rd. A Social Security disability check of $834 a month. On the 4th, that money is gone. All but $100 of it, which is what I have left to live on for the month. If I was to have to start paying on a fine, I would not be able to survive. Period. I would have no money left to survive on. So I can't afford to be fined. I can't afford to go to jail. And I can't believe for 1 second that a judge would actually convict me of these charges, knowing my situation. I now have, finally, after 3 years of trying, I now finally have an appointment with the doctor that's going to consider me for the use of medical marijuana, and I can guarantee you that it's going to be granted. All of this, because of the fact that the United States government has placed a ban on one of God's gifts to us, a natural medicine that is non-addictive, not harmful, and works. But yet, the United States government insists that it's dangerous, but won't tell you why. People, the only reason they made marijuana illegal is because it's the only way they could make any money off of it. I mean, how do you control, tax, or regulate something that someone can grow within the confines of their own home? So they figured, well, there's no way we can tax, regulate, or control it, so we'll make it illegal, and that way we can make some money off of it. Do you know how long I have been suffering because of that? I'm no different than you. The only difference between me and you is the medicine that we use. I'm going to drop it right there and just let you know that I'm going to plead not guilty to these charges and hope that I'm granted an attorney that's good enough, wise enough, savvy enough to defend me in such a way that I don't end up with a fine and jail time of any kind. I can't afford either one. Either one would absolutely destroy my life, 100%. Simply because I have no other way to take care of myself. That needs to change, people. That really needs to change. I'm not the only one in this country suffering like this. But I am the only one in my life that's having to deal with it. So I'll close this one off and let you know how it goes on Monday. Peace out. My peace sign. My natural, unnatural peace sign. Peace, brother.